Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Charting from Blank. This week's episode is going to be on Dogecoin, a coin I haven't looked at in a while, falling into that meme coin bracket. Meme coins have been heavily underperforming lately. In my opinion, they've put in some of the biggest moves off the highs, some of the largest moves we've seen to the downside since we topped in December. Equally, they put in some of the largest moves to the upside back in November when we had the Trump rally. So Doge is a coin that I do hold spot in long term since the 0.1 region. I have conviction in Doge for the longer term. I think Doge can be a top performer with potential bull market conditions coming back later in this year. This pullback to me is just a pullback along the way, and with the dominance we've seen from BTC, we've definitely seen altcoins suffer considerably more than Bitcoin. This is always the case in pullbacks, and I think Dogecoin will bounce back from this later in the year. So you got a few different, not necessarily fundamentals behind Dogecoin, but narratives with Elon working with Trump. I think the work Trump is doing towards crypto will come into fruition much later in the year. I think coins relating to Trump will perform very well, and I think Doge being one of them, not necessarily relating to Trump, but to the Trump team with Elon on board. I could see Elon starting to push Dogecoin again in the near future. So we're going to try and keep this under 10 minutes, so let's get into the analysis. Looking at the monthly, seems like we have a big monthly resistance towards the 0.33 area. We can see that it was basically the monthly close below here back in May 2021, and then also failed to push above there going into the back end of Q4 of 2021 as well. Sometimes I like to go into the line mode. Helps me identify levels of monthly support and resistance a bit clearer. So for me, I think this area looks like a nice monthly level, given we had a level of support here that failed to break down and continue to hold, and then reclaimed, and we went to the opposing side of that monthly resistance. And you can see here, if we go into the candlestick, there's definitely some interest here for Dogecoin towards the 0.132 area. And again, bit of a monthly level here as well around the 0.2 region, about here. So as of right now, these are the only three levels I think we should be interested in working with. You could even put a level up here as just a resistance. Pretty sure that if Doge flipped above this 0.42 level on the monthly, you would accelerate to all-time high. Monthly demand down here, definitely area of interest for price. If it was to retest, Doge has actually pulled back 70% of the highs here, which compared to the crash from March to August, maybe not crash, but the pullback from March to August, 66%. So we've actually pulled back more in terms of downside and over a shorter period of time. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and this has only been 1, 2, 3, 4 months. So not even 4 months yet, about 3.5 months, and we pulled back 70%. That's a big old pullback for Doge, and realistically, I think anywhere from here down to 0.12 seems like a great place to look at fresh spot buys for Doge. So I'm going to go on to the weekly. I've seen all I need to see really on the monthly. Nice high volume node edge here. The weekly, this area becomes a little bit more prominent, doesn't it? You can see how this area acted as support for weeks on end. We deviated under there, reclaimed, and we eventually shot back up. So, we're backfilling the imbalance here from the November Trump move, right? That's a pretty good start. I do think that if we did get a little sweep into 0.13, anywhere from there into this monthly demand seems like a nice place on picking up Doge spot. I suspect if BTC went for one more sweep into low 70s, we could get a move of such down into that monthly demand. as a one final bottom before probably maybe consolidating here and then legging up going into Q2 into summer. I think for like a bullish point of view, you really wouldn't want to see Doge lose here. If Doge sort of swept into this monthly demand and got stuck under this big monthly and weekly level, I think is at risk of, you know, trading back down towards these lows down here. And, you know, we would consider that probably it would take a lot longer for things to recover again, rather than just sweeping into here and seeing some continuation. Yeah, overall, for me, these are the only levels we should consider in the near term for price. So now onto the daily. We can clearly see the daily is in a clear downtrend. Basically, price sort of forms a range, breaks down and rejects off that range, and then breaks down again. Price forms a range, breaks down. This time didn't even retest the range. Price forms a range, breaks down, retests off the range low, range, breaks down. And again here, so probably forming some sort of lower time frame range. I think you're going to want to see a big change in structure for Doge before you consider probably an entry. Especially if we move down into this monthly demand, I think you want to see a sort of reclaim of 0.13 after sweeping, a little bit of structure shift, and then you could look at an entry targeting 0.22. And then if we flip there, probably looking at breaking out towards new sweeping last year's highs, the 2024 high back in December. It's not looking the best, right? We had that big move up, which has basically been retraced over the past few months now. But I do think as we move into this monthly demand, we can consider looking for a bottom towards this region and a reversal. Personally, I would potentially look at picking up some more Doge spot in a sweep towards this region. And, you know, if we start to get stuck under here, I would consider closing my long term out, as prices could end up trading much lower. So going on to the lower time frame, looking at the 4-hour and the 30-minute chart. To me, this kind of looks like a dead cat bounce. I see no reason why this bounce would make like a new high just yet. You know, we sort of bounced and just, you know, rolling over and it's just stalling. And I think we do get this final sweep on Doge down into that monthly demand towards 0.125 and lower. This is what a dead cat bounce tends to look like. You know, even when they look like they're not dead cat bounces, you know, it's just rejecting from that higher time frame daily level, right? You know, if we go back to the daily, we can see that there is a big sort of daily level here between 0.2, and then we have that weekly level of 0.22. You know, so for a bigger high time frame reversal, you want to see a move back above 0.22, and then a good chance we can trade towards like 0.33 and 0.46. For now, just use the lower time frame to work around this monthly demand below. You know, the structure remains most likely in a downtrend until we see that big shift, like I said, back above 0.22. Overall, not a massive amount to talk about with the Doge chart. I mean, it had a huge pump back in November and basically retraced the whole thing now. You know, I've said it many times throughout this video, but this is a really important place to hold. The 0.13 area on Doge, it seems like a really important place to hold, and personally, I wouldn't want to see price break down back under there, which is in some cases for me is a nice place to buy, right? When you have this almost last level of bullishness to hold, you know, you're basically buying at the extreme, right? It's the last support for Doge before things could get really ugly, right? You know, if we start breaking back under here on Doge, then you're going to see things take a lot longer to recover. So if we do sweep into here, watch for a quick sweep out, like a wick deviation, look at buying a reclaim, and then probably target 0.22 and 0.33 if we can flip there. Overall, I think Doge can probably go to $1 this cycle, as long as this 0.313 area continues to hold. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode of Chatting from Blank. If you do have any requests for next week, then please let me know. All my socials are linked below, and you can join the Wealth Group Discord following the link below as well. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you next week.